It's the World Cup final! It's Argentina with Lionel Messi versus France with Kylian Mbappe. Who's the best team in the world? Well, we're going to find out on Sunday, but now we're going to try and work out how both teams are going to play, what we might see and where they're going to win the game, because both teams have been excellent all the way through, but specifically these two players, Messi and Mbappe, are the ones that are going to make all the difference in this game. So who's going to win it? Let's try and work things out, right? Let's see how both teams want to play. So we'll start with France actually over here. Now they're quite easy to read because we know basically what they're going to do. They'll probably play a back four with a central two, a midfield of Tchouaméni and Rabiot. He was ill for the semi-final, but he should be back in time for the main event. So that's their two in there, and they're both quite, they're defensive. They stay nice and between the forward line and the defense. That's what they do. The midfield, that's what it does. Then you've got Dembélé plays wider when they go forward. He'll play closer to the touchline like a winger. You'll get Giroud goes to the middle as someone who gets on the end of things and can help link the play by holding the ball with his back to goal. Then you've got Mbappe, starts wide but actually comes inside the pitch to attack these sort of spaces in the half space sort of area here, and he performs all his magical business around that sort of area. That's where magical business takes place. That's what happens. Then Griezmann is really important, if not the most important player behind Mbappe in this entire team. He is everywhere. So you'll see this big gap between Dembélé and Giroud. He'll often appear in these sort of spaces here to help out. This is exactly where he scored the goal that Morocco conceded first in the semi-final. That's interesting, but he's crucial to how they win the ball back. And it's to do with how he reads the game, where he is at the right times to be able to stop teams from counter-attacking, but also he helps link the midfield with the attack. So if these guys are further up, you get Theo Hernandez, the left back, who will often come up and be the widest player over here. He scored the first goal that France scored actually against Morocco. Griezmann started it, but Hernandez finished it off. He plays nice and wide. We'll get into the box as well as an extra forward. That's kind of your front four you get with five joined by Griezmann. A lot of teams play with a front five. Then your midfield blocks and helps link things, recycles play. Koundé doesn't go too far forward, Varane doesn't go too far forward, Upamecano or Konate, who was excellent in the semi-final, so he might start actually here, Liverpool's Konate. That might be what it looks like in attack. That's how I think France might play. They've got to be worried obviously about Messi breaking, but they'll think they can control the play, be very measured, not do anything too risky. They don't want to push too many players forward too early. They want to make sure when they do get players forward as high as this, they've got control of the pitch, so they're forcing the opponent backwards so that they can't break. So that's France in attack. That's how they'll probably do that. They'll be very cagey. They won't throw players forward. They'll very much make sure they don't lose the game. And if Argentina make a mistake, that's when they'll exploit it because they've got fast players. Mbappe, Theo Hernandez, Griezmann, not Giroud, Dembélé. These are the guys who'll get forward in the counter-attack and try to exploit Argentina in transition. But will Argentina give them the chance to do that? Because they're very aware of the strengths of France. Now, what you've got here is it could be a few different things for Argentina, right? So before the World Cup, in fact, in the Copa America that they won, they would play a 4-3-3 against teams that they were worried about being good in transition, maybe like France, or a 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2 when they're playing against teams that they should dominate the ball against. Now, I'm not sure exactly what they'll think they're going to do here. They'll be wary of France, but they'll know that they can take the game to them at certain times because France are quite passive off the ball, so they might have players forward, but they won't engage their opponent until they won't try and engage them this high up the pitch. They'll mostly let them come forward a little bit, so that as they push up, they leave space in behind, and that's when they can try and make use of players getting in behind into these spaces behind them. So that's kind of the thinking. They want to wait for the opposition to make a mistake that they can exploit. So they want to be conservative. That's what Argentina want to do as well. They want to make sure they're not getting beaten by France in transition. But how are they going to line up in the first place? Well, we know they'll have this back two of Otamendi and Romero. It could be a back three. We'll come into that in a second. The full-backs will get forward. Acuna will come back from suspension. He should start on the left. Molina is probably going to start on the right here. So they'll be tasked with getting forward and providing some of the width when Argentina go forward. But like France, they don't just do it straight away. They do it cleverly at the right time. You don't want to leave space behind to be exploited. Enzo Fernandez, absolutely key. He helps when they build from the back. So when they try and build from the back, he'll be the one that drops in to be able to receive it and then move the ball on. He can join in later on up the pitch as well. Then you've got maybe Paredes could start next to Fernandez, maybe DePaul or McAllister. It could be a three like this. And then you could put Alvarez wide left because if he starts wide left, he comes in through the middle because he's overlapped by Acuna. So it could be something like that. But we'll keep going through it slightly slower because what we need to do is look at how important Rodrigo de Paul has been. Now, his passing isn't great. He doesn't really create anything what he does is act almost like Messi's bodyguard. And that's not to say that he's not a very good player, because it means that what Messi does basically is win the game for you. So you want to give him as much energy as possible. Let him do what he does best. That's what he should do. And Messi, you'll often see, will walk around, he'll sort of wander about while everyone else is pushing up and doing things. He will just walk, make sure he's in the place with the most space, so that all of a sudden he can just like bang, come into play, receive the ball and go. But to be able to do that, he needs energy to be able to, maximize the explosivity of the runs that he wants to make. Like when he took Gvardiol for a run down the right side of the pitch and set up the third goal that Argentina scored against Croatia in the semi-final. He needs energy for that. So Messi doesn't do much defending, fine. De Paul does. He sort of backs up. So if Messi's not doing the work here, De Paul will come and back him up and give them the sort of defensive grit you need to make sure you're not down a man when you're defending against teams. Because what France have on this exact side that Messi tends to play is Mbappe and Theo Hernandez. They're two most creative attacking forces in the entire team. Dembele's very good wide, 1v1, and will help assist things, but Hernandez and Mbappe are the real threats to Argentina. So how do you deal with that? Well, Mbappe is going to be next to Romero probably when they defend. Then if you play this 4-4-2 shape, it limits your width kind of, but you're going to have Paredes who can help deal with Mbappe, but Romero dealing with Mbappe here, and De Paul can basically surround him. And then when Theo Hernandez comes to try and help out, again, you've got players stationed around him to be able to break. Also, crucially, Messi plays that side. So he starts in part of a front two. He can then move in to these wide spaces behind Mbappe and Hernandez. And France will not like that, because if he is then able to get into spaces where he's not being watched so they can't look after him, that's when he's most dangerous. So Alvarez will come back and help defend. He'll basically do what Griezmann does off the ball, maybe come wide left when he needs to as well. Messi won't do anything like it. But if you do this, it means you don't want to push Theo Hernandez as far forward as you might do to provide the width to allow Mbappe to come out from here. So it's all got knock-on effects. If Theo Hernandez can overlap, Mbappe can come in from the wide to the central spaces. But if they have this 4-4-2, they're going to be able to surround him, and that should, in theory, reduce the impact that Mbappe can have. But of course, if you bring 4 players out of the game to deal with Mbappe, do you know what you get? You get Griezmann running through the middle there, or you get Dembele coming in behind or something like that. They've got loads of options. Both teams are great. And that's why it'll probably be a very, very, very slow and patient, edgy game, because no one wants to concede the space. France won't want to push forwards players like Hernandez because Messi can get in behind and cause you damage. And Argentina won't want to go forward too much too, because the threat of Mbappe in behind is really dangerous, as you probably realised from the 5 goals he scored and the 5 goals that Messi scored. 3 assists from Messi though. He's winning so far. So what you might see then is a very cagey game decided by a moment of magic by one of these two players. You take I think it was the second goal that France scored against Morocco, really hard team to break down. The way they broke them down for the second goal was Mbappe got the ball in tight spaces and then just sort of 2-foot touched it around a couple of players, took a shot that took a deflection, and at the back post, a player came in and scored. Kind of lucky, but it comes from amazing footwork from Mbappe, the kind of thing that only players like he can do. And then you imagine the goal that Argentina scored, the third goal. Messi receives the ball wide. He's got a centre-back tight to him, one of the best ones in the entire tournament. So good that I've lost the ball. Here it is. And so Messi takes him for a ride. Gvardiol does everything right. He shows him wide. That's what you got to do. Show him wide, show him to the line, but Messi stops. And as he stops, he then starts again, and that catches Gvardiol a little bit. Messi drops his shoulder, takes him another way, goes all the way around him into the box. There's nothing he can do, and that's how he set up the goal. It's a bit of magic from Messi. Alvarez scores it, being in the right place at the right time, but it's all about Messi doing something individual. Now, you can't rely on that happening, and teams like France have good players in defence who will try and stop him from doing it early by giving him a little dunt or pushing him early to stop it happening. So it could be very cagey, and I genuinely have no idea who's going to win. But I've got a feeling it'll be decided by one of these two players here, because they're the best players in the world and they're both in the World Cup final. What a joyous time! We get to watch the 2 best players ever. No, not ever, of the tournament, that's what I'm trying to say. They're both here. It's going to be great. We'll see you on Sunday. Enjoy the final and come and see us on a live stream on Tifo IRL. We're going to be here. Yes, come and see us in the live stream after the game. Thanks for watching all our videos this World Cup. Please do subscribe. Goodbye.
If you liked today's video, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you did like it, you might be interested in How to Watch Football, Tifo's illustrated book. It's 52 rules for understanding the beautiful game on and off the pitch, and it is the perfect holiday gift. How to Watch Football is out now in stores and online. See the link in the description to find out more, and thank you for watching today's video.